Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning if you're on the West Coast. Good afternoon if you're on the East Coast, and good evening if you're in Europe. You're getting ready to see something really special, and that is the introduction of a brand new product line from a Sharp NEC display. The Message Series, you're here on the Launch platform. I'm excited to bring this to you. Not often that we get to debut a new product line on our platform. We're going to be doing that more and more in the future. Now, what's cool about this is some of you are watching us live on LinkedIn right now. We are actually streaming this live on both Sharp NEC Displays LinkedIn feed and the rAVe Pubs LinkedIn feed. So if you're seeing this live on LinkedIn, you can participate in this and you can be part of our day. I'll tell you how to in just a second. For those of you who are on the Launch platform, welcome. You're going to get a copy of the slides posted in the Q&A to the right of the screen here in just a minute. But let me talk about the platform. First off, you're looking at me live. This is a live stream. This is not a fake live stream. It is actually 1:01 p.m. on the East Coast. And we're coming to you live. And I'm going to bring in our guests in just a minute because we're going to do this live on the Launch platform. To the right of this video streaming window, you'll see the Q&A section of Launch. That gives you the ability to send questions directly to me that I will ask of our two panelists or gentlemen that are from Sharp NEC. So you have an opportunity to do that right now in the Q&A section. So if you have questions about Sharp NEC, you have questions about the product line, just put them there and I'll make sure those get posted. For those of you who are on LinkedIn, it's real simple. All you have to do is go down to the comment area. I need you to do two things. You have the ability to put a reaction, so you can just like it or any kind of reaction on LinkedIn. Do that right now. If you're on right now on LinkedIn, give us a reaction. Below that, you'll see a comment area. Put in your comment, and we will monitor those and make those part of the questions that we ask of all the panelists that will be joining us today. Right below the video window here, you're going to see polling questions. We want you to answer those polling questions because we want to hear from you. We want your opinion. We want to know what you think and feel and what makes you do things with regard to the display industry. And below that, we have networking. Networking is where you can see everyone who's on live. So if you're here on the Launch platform, you can actually talk and reach out to everyone that's on live and say hello to everyone. In fact, why don't you in the all attendees section, why don't some of you tell me where you are? I'm in here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Our guests are going to come live from Chicago, Illinois in the United States. But where are you from? Post some start posting some places. Let me see where you're actually from. As I said, we're here in Chapel Hill. We're having a beautiful day today. It's actually in the 70s, which is quite weird. Spring is finally here, but we are excited to be here today. I want to also mention that this is coming to you live from the Launch platform. And if for those of you who have friends that couldn't make this event right now live, we are going to post this video recording along with the slide presentation within a couple of hours after we finish this presentation. Of course, if you're on LinkedIn, you'll be able to see it on LinkedIn on the Sharp NEC LinkedIn feed or on the rAVe Pubs LinkedIn feed right after the recording, right after we finish. But to get the slides, you just need to register on the Launch platform. Just go to lavnch.com, click on Sharp NEC. Just tell your friends to do that if they haven't done that already. So what are we going to see? We're going to see the new NEC MultiSync Message Series. And there's like a good, better, best option here with the series. This is like the perfectly positioned display series right now because it is not only serving the digital signage market, but serves all elements of the display market. It's not just for digital signage. So I'm going to bring on our two gentlemen from Sharp NEC. First, I want to introduce Ben Hardy. Ben and I have known each other for many, many years. He has been a solutions provider for us at trade shows when we've ever had problems. He's on the far right of your screen there. Senior Product Manager at Sharp NEC Display Solutions. Ben, how are you doing?
Hey, great, Gary. Thanks for having us here, and great to see you as always.
Yeah, and you got some cool displays behind you, which we're going to talk about in just a second. But I also want to introduce Kevin Christopherson, who is right in the middle of the picture. He's the Director of Product Marketing for LCD and projectors at NEC. So he knows everything about all the display technologies. Kevin, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks, Gary. It's great to be here, and thanks for having us.
Well, I'm excited to see what you have. This is a brand new series called the Message Series. And I want you to post your questions. Go to the right. You'll see the Q&A section right there, right to the right of the video streaming window. Post your questions as this presentation is moving on. As you think of something to ask, post a question. For any of y'all that want to make sure that question gets answered, upvote the question. So you'll see like a little thumbs up thing. Those upvoted questions are the ones that I'll ask first. And I want to thank you for joining me. Kevin, I'm going to turn it over to you first because I believe you're going to make a little bit of a presentation, right? Did I get that right?
Yep, absolutely. We're gonna go through a little presentation on the message series today. I'm gonna kick it off, and then Ben's gonna get into the details for us. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, next slide, Ben, if you would. Thank you. So what we're gonna cover today, we're gonna take a quick look at our portfolio. We're gonna look at where it is today and where it's transitioning to. We're gonna take a look at the mainstream segment in general, and then dig deep into the message series. We're really excited to introduce this to you today. And the message series is comprised of our ME series, our M series, and our MA series. So let's go ahead to that next slide. So in calendar year 20 or fiscal year 20, we go through on fiscal years here at Sharp NEC through the end of this month, actually. This is the current portfolio that is in a transition phase. So in the standalone signage segment, we have our E series, which is our entry-level corporate signage solution. This is a landscape-only solution. And then you go up to your C series, V series, and P series. These are full HD solutions, but give you that 24/7 capability in that 40 to 55 screen size range. We also have, as we go towards the right-hand side of the slide, our large screen series, which is our C series and V series. These are UHD 24/7 solutions that will go from 65-inch on the C series up to 98, and then on the V series from 55-inch all the way up to 98 as well. And then we go into that specialty market. That's our high bright series as well as our ultra narrow series, which is our video wall products. So let me give you a look at where we're going as we go into fiscal year 21 or calendar year 21. Ben, if you click the next slide. Here we go. Thank you. The standalone signage segment for us is being completely revamped. So from bottom to top, we are changing our E series. Our 8th generation product was just announced last month. I encourage you to look on the website, talk to your rep about that. We have a whole host of information on the 8th generation. That is a UHD solution with the exception of the 32-inch. Then we get into the message series, the ME, the M, the MA. These are, on the ME side, you've got an 18:7 product, all UHD, landscape, portrait. Great thing about these products is they're modular. You can have Raspberry Pi integrated into the unit. You could utilize the Intel SDM solution, and screen sizes available are going to be from 43 up to 55. I'm not going to go into too much details on that because Ben's going to really show you where we're going with each one of those product lines. And then we have our P series. P series next generation is going to be announced in May, so stay tuned for more information on that. That is our wide color gamut, higher brightness, 700 candela, 24/7 solution for really your more demanding applications and setups. Large size solutions are going to stay the same, as well as the specialty products. Those are going to stay the same as we go through this calendar year. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump to the next slide. And for this, we've really seen from a market segmentation that the market has really evolved, and we're seeing it. Market analysts, we've got a quote here from Future Source, they're seeing it as well. That mainstream product category, the lines are blurring between that consumer, prosumer level product from the mid-range all the way up to the high end. And so we're really just recategorizing that as the mainstream segment. And then you'll continue to have that high bright segment, video wall segment, and then your collaborative interactive segment. So as I mentioned, we're really redefining that entire mainstream category, and that's what we're showing you today. Going to the next slide, we have the thought process on the design. So first of all, we know the market's evolving, and we want to make sure that our products evolve with the market to meet the needs of our customers out in the space. And we made sure that we'll continue to keep these products competitive. We can continue to deliver a product that has that NEC or Sharp NEC quality that customers have come to expect, and the modularity that they've come to expect as well, from whether it be media player, Raspberry Pi, SDM. We continue to keep those in our portfolio, and really give our goal is to give those customers a competitive and trustworthy product that they could rely on regardless of what their need is, whether it's on the entry-level side of that mainstream segment or all the way up to the higher end side with like our P series product. And the bottom line is we want to empower our customers and give them the best-in-class digital signage solution regardless of what their specific need may be. And with that, I'm going to transition over to Ben, and he's going to give you a little bit more detail about the Message Series lineup.
Thank you, Kevin. Very much appreciate that. So Message Series is going to be broken down, or it is broken down into really 3 different product lines, and that's going to be the ME Series, or the Essential, the Message Essential line, the M Series, the Mainstream Message, and then the MA Series, Message Advanced. And kind of pigtailing on what Kevin was talking about with regards to kind of the segments for products in general, becoming more blurred lines between what's prosumer, what's sort of mainstream, and what's professional. Like you said, everything is very much becoming kind of blurred, right? But that being said, you could kind of take that a step further, and really there's becoming more segmented types of displays dependent on applications. So when we were developing this product line, in particular, we were focusing on digital signage types of applications. And so digital signage applications, obviously, there's a bunch that can be utilized with this. So like with advertising, for example, when a display is used as a form of visual marketing, communication to promote or to sell a product or brand. So retail branding, house of worship messaging, sales boards in restaurants, stuff like that. Or for like entertainment, we're finding that a lot of customers out there, they don't really want to put a TV up for entertainment purposes in their place of business. They'd rather utilize a commercial display. So that's when a display is used for displaying television or another type of live event. So that could be like in a sports pub or a restaurant or for rental and staging markets or so forth. And then finally, like for informational purposes. And so, as it says here, that's when a display is really used to deliver certain types of critical information. So like financial tickers or airports, flight information displays, QSR menu boards, anything command and control. That's really where these products are mainly designed for from a primary application standpoint. And, we put a lot of thought process into the product development for these. And we listened to a lot of customer feedback and really needed to determine really what was needed for signage purposes, within their products. And so beyond that, though, these screens can obviously still be used as a presentation device. As I said, as the market becomes a bit more blurred and everything kind of becomes more in this mainstream type of segment, that could kind of be subdivided into what is a digital signage display versus what is a presentation device, or, what is a front room device, whether it's in a control room or educational or huddle space or whatever. And so these screens can really do both. Through the design process, we were focusing mainly on that primary application, with the secondary application, obviously, is something that it can go into as well. So starting now, I put a fancy little, we're all doing everything virtually right now. So I put a fancy little GIF or GIF in here just because you can't really see a product otherwise. So we put some CAD in here. But starting with the ME series, sort of our tagline is focused design, meaningful message. And, this really plays true into, again, what we went into from a product development standpoint in here. But it's cost-conscious and reliable display lineup built to bring clear and concise UHD signage to corporate, educational, retail, and house of worship institutes. So you could see everything. I hope it's rotating okay. I hope we're not having any bandwidth limitations or anything, but it has that full type of commercial build. It has a metal chassis. It's got handles on each product that obviously aid with install and stuff like that. I like to talk about and kind of give you guys and the customer kind of insight into what I like to call sort of our pillars of design, or sort of some three type of things that we had in mind, the three main things we had in mind through the product development process. And that was cost conscious, commercial, and reliable. And reliable is something that you're going to hear a lot, but NEC has been known for reliable product throughout many years. And we really wanted to focus on maintaining what we're known for while also focusing on just what customers need. And so the ME series are really designed for volume driving projects in the market. It's really more of a less specialized type of product. It's where those customers, there are those customers out there that really just want a commercial display on a wall that you can have full control, that you could rotate into portrait, that has some type of modularity. Doesn't necessarily have all the bells and whistles, because that is not really necessary for a majority of products that are out there, a majority of installations that are out there. They're designed and spec'd in a way to satisfy a majority of current and new customers that are really just looking for dependable digital signage displays. So again, reliable, commercial, and cost conscious. Talking about this, and I don't usually like to show lists, but I know people are really going to be looking at some specs and stuff like that. But first things first, everything in the ME series, the M and the MA series going up, those are all UHD resolution, native resolution. So the ME series in particular has 43, 50, 55, and 65-inch product. They are 18:7 runtimes. They can utilize landscape and portrait orientation. At NEC, we use a full metal chassis, so a full metal back cover, bezel around the sides, gives it really more of that rugged type of feel, and that more type of industrial type of build that's really necessary for a lot of true commercial types of applications. Simple connectivity is built into this, so we focused in on, again, what the customer is really using. And so for the ME series, and then scaling upwards to the M series, we have, it's really 3 digital inputs, HDMI times 2 and DP times 1, and then a audio out connection that can be switched between fixed and variable, dependent on the setting that it's obviously going into. Full external control. So anything you can really do from the remote control when standing in front of the monitor, you can do also via LAN or over TCP/IP or RS-232. Also compatible with control systems, obviously. And then SDM and Raspberry Pi support. So I'll dig into that a bit more on the next slide. But as Kevin said before, we do have SDM support, which is Smart Display Module. And then we have the ability to integrate a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4 in these products as well. Full input detect functionality. So what that means is that these products, if there's ever you never want to see a down screen. And so if there's ever a moment when these products are utilized in conjunction with the source and the source were to fail, we actually have the ability to have the screen be sort of smart enough to recognize that there's no longer sync from your primary device, slip over to a secondary device if necessary. And then if the primary device actually comes back, it'll actually go back to that first and sort of primary type of input that you want it to be on. Local dimming, HDR, full scheduler capabilities, obviously, so you can program the screen to turn on really, at any hour of the day, turn off at any hour of the day, and so forth, and USB setting copies. So if you have a big rollout and you want all displays to be on the same settings, you can really set one, copy to a USB, plug it into a second one, and then copy from USB. Obviously, our standard 3-year warranty is associated with this as well. So Smart Display Module is really something that we're moving on to. I like to think of it as the evolution of OPS because it allows for higher bandwidth capabilities. So all of our products, ME, M, and MA, are going to have the ability to implement an SDMS, a Smart Display Module Small, or an SDML, which is a Smart Display Module Large. And there's kind of a clever mechanical electrical design in this, and I'll get into that on the next slide. But, at NEC, we always like to have the modular type of approach. So what that means is that we like to empower the customer to be able to kind of modify their product dependent on the application and the need that they have in the market. And so that's what we really have through this SDM. So some sort of tech bits about SDM, but previously we had OPS. We're moving on to SDM. It allows us for higher bandwidth capabilities as the world kind of turns over into the 8K realm. It utilizes a PCIe connection as opposed to something that was a JAE connection from the OPS, and that allows for kind of easier development and so forth. Then, like I said, we really have a number of different peripherals that you could kind of slip into these SDM slots to modify your product to kind of make it yours and allow you to have the solution that you need with our products to really alleviate all of your pains. And so, like I said, the ME and the M and the MA, they all have this slot. I'm just going to talk about the ME here because everything kind of rolls upwards. I know this looks like a lot. You don't usually show boards and stuff like that, but I wanted to show just how this looks. So if we're looking at the back of our screen here, what we have is we're looking at the back, and I believe you can see my mouse here, but we have the SDM S slot on the top and the Raspberry Pi compute module slot on the bottom. And so what we actually have is we have the ability to remove the sort of middle portion there and then implement an SDML if necessary, because there's different capabilities and there's different types of peripherals and there's different type of components and stuff like that that can be developed for SDMS or SDML. And so we have the ability to obviously house both if necessary for your particular application. So the ME series, really, it's ideal for, corporate hallway signage, simple types of products, simple types of signage, K-12 or higher education, as digital signage or being used as a presentation device, really due to cost conscious. These are kind of that essential category. So they check a lot of the boxes that a majority of customers will need for their digital signage applications. House of worship signage is another one, or retail, really due to their flexibility, due to landscape, portrait, and so forth, how it goes. Moving on really to our M series now, our kind of tagline here is professional quality, memorable message. This is a step up now from the ME series. So when Gary was saying there was a sort of a good, better, best approach, this is that better type of line. And this is really for customers that have, they want all the features that the ME series will offer, but a little bit more as well. And so what that means is that these products were designed where needs are simple, but professional features are still necessary. So if a customer really wanted 24/7 capabilities, they want a little bit of a brighter type of units. These are 500 nits as opposed to the ME series that was 400 nits. Really, these are designed in a way to satisfy customers who do not necessarily need all of the bells and whistles, but still need higher brightness and a lower reflectivity type of panel due to the implementation and where the product is actually going into. So the M series, so one way to think about it, and like I said, we're really streamlining our design so that there's consistency across products, right? And so the M series is a step up from the ME, and that all of the features and functionality that are in the ME are also in the M series and then some. So the and then some portion of that is like 24/7 functionality, high haze, which I'll get to that in a second, an integrated ambient light sensor, a little bit different mechanical design. We have integrated cooling fans and temperature sensors. And the reason for that is because these are 24/7 products as opposed to having that limitation that the ME series had before. We have a cool little joystick design on the back. So if anyone ever misplaces a remote or something like that, we make it very easy for you to control the actual display if necessary. And so talking kind of feature, this really engineered excellence is what I have on here, but we do use high haze glass for the M series and above. And what that means is that we have the anti-reflective, more of a matte finish. And what that is designed to do is that instead of reflecting your incidental or ambient light, which I'm, sitting in a room here and there's lights peering down on my head, you notice there's not reflection behind me on the unit here. This is an M series right here, actually. And the reason for that is because instead of reflecting it, it's going to scatter it. And it gives you more of that matte finish for that 24/7 true commercial type of build. On top of that, we got an active cooling system, and I stole some marketing from our rAVe friends here. But because these are 24/7 units, we do have active cooling that are built into these products. And what that means is that if there's ever a moment where temperatures start to rise within these units, we got integrated cooling fans that automatically kick on. It'll suck that hot air away from those electrical components. Right. And why is that different? Because not other brands necessarily have that. If temperature were to rise, what's a way to get temperature down? It's to lower the brightness, lower the BTUs. And that's taking away from your signage and really the entire point of having a screen out there. So, yeah, we just, kind of, I don't want to say we over-engineer, but we engineer to make sure that your product is going to last. And that's really shown here in the M series and then kind of going up as well. So the M series ideal for really corporate hallway signage, higher education, rental and staging because they're that higher brightness, more robust type of build. Restaurant signage if they want to use it for menu boards, if daisy chain's not a necessary thing because there isn't the ability to daisy chain on these products, or Gov as well. Simple 24/7. There's no Wi-Fi or anything built into these products, so you're not going to have to worry about that, or no NFC or anything like that as well. And then finally, the MA series. So again, this is sort of the third step. We wanted to be able to give the customer a valid step up or step down type of approach. This is the best. So this is going to have a majority of a lot of the features, A, that we've had in the past with our products, but B, that we've either refined or advanced for this ME series product line. And so design pillars here were professional, reliable, advanced, really more targeted towards specialized types of installations in the market. Customers who want to utilize things like wide color gamut, customers who want to utilize things like our integrated SpectraView engine technology and want to have software components to go along with the product. So really it's for customers who need advanced functionality or are used to some advanced functionality that NEC has had in the past. And so there's a difference here now with the MA series. So first of all, like I said, it was really exciting. We finally have some wide color gamut displays here for our large format displays, our large format category. And that's going to start with the MA series. And why that's important is because we've done a lot of the back end engineering and we've actually been able to streamline some cool tech that we've had in our high end desktop products, like our PA series, our professional photography studio displays, and it's called SpectraView Engine. We were able to essentially supplant that, and we were able to integrate it into the MA series. So what that means is we're going to have wide color gamut, but also really complete color control. And I'll touch on that in a little bit. On top of that, connectivity standpoint, this is where daisy chain's involved. So if you LAN daisy chain, you can daisy chain that TCP/IP, that control, the RS-232 through the TCP/IP, or you could daisy chain HDMI or DisplayPort. And on top of the DisplayPort, it's DisplayPort 1.4. So there's higher bandwidth capabilities. So you can do MST through here. So you can actually power an entire 1x4 menu board solution if you wanted to off of one PC, where each screen on there would have different content because you're really breaking up the bands through each of the 1, 2, 3, 4 displays through MST. Other additional features include multi-picture modes. You can have up to 4 simultaneous images on the display at once. Something you might think would be like command and control or the financial institutions. New key design, 8K support, because this is a 1.4 connection. It's 4K screen, but it can input an 8K signal if you wanted to and output if you wanted to. And then a quick power feature. Let me get through this. SpectraView Engine, I want to talk about this. I don't like often showing block diagrams. But I think I just wanted to kind of make some sense of this. But SpectraView Engine is our proprietary integrated color management system. And so what we have is we have a constant sort of feedback process that's working behind the scenes within our products. And what it's doing is it's this constant feedback loop is working with all the different parts and pieces within the product itself, measuring backlight conditions, measuring where color point is. And really the goal of SpectraView Engine is to allow you, the customer, to have really the utmost color control. And it kind of ties in and makes sense with wide color gamut panels, but B, allows that color control and that brightness and that color to stay more efficient and really more regular throughout the lifetime of the product. And so this is something, like I said, that's really been expanded from our desktop monitors, and we've been developing SpectraView Engine now since 2010. Right. And we have really been integrating it, upgrading it. And now it's at the point where it's really the highest end type of version of it in this MA series product, which, again, ties very nicely into the wide color gamut space of the panel itself for the MA series. And one thing interesting about this is that we have this luminance stabilization setting in the product. It's actually behind the scenes thing. So because SpectraView Engine is in there, it's kind of like brains, a separate brain in there that's communicating with color and intensity and stuff like that. But it allows your product to stay at a more consistent image for a longer period of time, as opposed to a normal product, like a normal LED backlit product, that obviously there's LED degradation. Well, the SpectraView Engine is smart enough to allow you to have a more consistent image for a longer period of time. And that obviously is something that, you as a customer would want, because you want to have your images consistent for as long as possible. Wide color gamut panel, like I said before, so these are 86% DCI-P3 displays. It allows us to take more advantage of more colors, which, is going to really be something that's necessary for retail branding or even corporate. Everyone has their colors that they need, their certain color standards that they need to adhere to. And we're going to have that much more of a vivid type of image with this MA series product. What these are really ideal for are QSR menu boards. Like I said, you can utilize that cool MST daisy chain functionality, high-end retail, where they want to take advantage of the wide color gamut for branding and advertising. Command and control is something, and I know that's more of a presentation type of purpose, but like I said, you can show up to 4 simultaneous images on each display individually if you wanted to. So there's a lot of processing power behind these products if that's something you're looking to do. Museums, because of wide color gamut, UHD, corporate obviously is a presentation device, and then rental and staging as well, because these are of the same robust build as the M series. In fact, I didn't talk about this, they're the exact same mechanical design as the M series as well. So we've been sort of streamlining that upwards too. So I'm not going to really talk
Dan,
through
I have
this.
a question for you real quick. Can I
Yes, sir.
pop in here and ask a couple of questions? We have some good questions coming in here.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the color temperature settings and when you have this wide band color capability.
Yeah.
Can you copy that over to multiple displays installed at the same time to sort of simplify the installation in a QSR application? And when you're daisy chaining them, is it monitoring that so that the color temperature stays the same across multiple displays?
100%. Yeah. So that's a great question. And Gary, that sounds like a question you would have. I don't know if that was from someone else or what, but yeah, absolutely. So you can copy settings either via the LAN daisy chain. So you can copy just from your sort of first screen over to whatever the X number is, or you can do it via USB if you're not really tying things together and you just want, your screen in this room to match your screen in that room. That's very simple. And then as far as your secondary question go, yeah, I mean, you have the ability to adjust color temperature to the CIE color coordinates. So your RGB, you can actually go in there and pick out your X and your Y if you wanted to, or you can adjust by 100 Kelvin each from, if you want to start at D65 and go up or go down. And the SpectraView Engine is going to be working in the background to sort of maintain that status and where that product is at, because you could actually also put an individual intensity if you wanted to. Yeah. So if you said, I want these products to be at 400 nits, you could click the 400 nits within the product.
Can you automate that based on a time of day too, so that it changes over the course of a day based on light coming in?
Sure, certainly, yeah. So there's an ambient light sensor that's also built into these products. Oops, sorry about that. And the ambient light sensor is going to be utilized to determine the lux in the room, and then you can actually set your criteria in the unit to, hey, I'm sensing that it's 80 lux in the room. I want to switch the product so that it's 70% brightness or whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, certainly you can absolutely do that as well. And that's actually something. So the SpectraView Engine is something that's on the MA series, but the ambient light sensor is on the M series as well. So
okay.
It's
so since we're talking about the MA series, Nick Mathis asked the question: is it possible to daisy chain sources from the rear module or only from the baseband inputs?
From the input module. So the only way to do it from the input module would be a lot of the input modules that we have. They have the ability to output internally, depending on if it's the TMDS connection or the DP. But and then some of them also have an output that's actually on the board if it's a PC type of module. So you could do it either way. You can daisy chain internally out, or you could come out and then go separately to another screen if you want to do it that way. So it really also depends on what the module is. Obviously, PCs are going to have a lot more type of processing power and stuff like that, and a lot more capabilities. But like HDBaseT or SDI or something like that, that would be something that's only internal.
And then I'll let you finish in just a second. I have another question that popped up. What about NFC capability in any of these? So you could do an override for making the display a UCC display on the fly, because there's going to be applications where you have signage everywhere and you want to use a display for an ad hoc meeting. Do you have NFC in any of the models so I can walk up, have it recognize my phone, and then display whatever's on my tablet, my phone, or my computer?
So that's a great question. There is not NFC that's inherently built into these products. We actually we used to have NFC in the last iteration of products. That was not really for content distribution. That was more so for I don't want to say service, but it allowed rollouts to be easier because you could copy settings via NFC to the product. You set one, copy NFC, copy to another. That's something that we have removed from this product line. Quite frankly, it was causing a couple more headaches than it was really benefiting the customer.
Okay, but it is compatible with all the SD modules that are out there. So if somebody wanted to build a module, because there are some modules out there that allow you to interface through through NFC or other wireless connectivity options, it's universally compatible. You're not shutting off any third-party modules there, are you?
100%. Yeah. I mean, so the SDM, I mean, it's a spec, right? So we designed the SDM adhering to that Intel spec. And it really depends on if it's an S, which is the smaller. Actually, I have a couple of units here. So I should have showed this, but this is essentially an SDM-S type of module.
Yep.
And then if I show you what an L looks like, you're going to say, oh, wow, that's a lot bigger. And so an L is about this much bigger. So obviously with different sizes like this, you can have a lot more different processing type of power and capabilities through this. But that being said, then you're kind of taking up both slots for us because we also have the ability to integrate the Raspberry Pi compute modules. So these kind of both slide on the side right there if necessary. So again, modular expandability is kind of our thing. We wanted to make sure that we can allow the customer to really utilize their display and alter their display based on their needs. And that's then SDM just seems like or through the development process seemed like the evolution that we needed to move to for these new products. Yeah.
And which models are any of the models Rec 2020 compliant, or is it limited to only one line, or what about that?
So they can accept. So from an HDR standpoint, at least, they can all accept HDR types of signals. They're not necessarily Rec 2020 compliant, but they will be able to accept HDR types of signals for all three product lines. The wider color gamut screens obviously are going to be able to show that a bit more vividly.
Yeah, and of course you can go to the microsite. We put a URL to the microsite in the Q&A a little bit ago. I'll let you get back then and finish your slides before I ask these other questions.
No, yeah, I mean, I believe this is probably the last one. At the end of all of this, and this was something very, very brief here, kind of a more macro type of approach to this entire product line. But I talked about how these displays were really designed from the development standpoint for the digital signage market. And digital signage, you can kind of break down into advertising, entertainment, informational, and this kind of lines up how they align there based on the application. And then obviously, like you said, Gary, they can also be used for presentation purposes. I mean, that's also something that these can entirely be used. I mean, there's that input detect functionality. So the screen will automatically boot up if you just add sync to it. That's called first detect. It's got the custom detect, last detect, where it can sort of be used as a failover option if necessary. So there's a lot of features that we decided, and we really, through talking to the customer, really kind of focused in on what was needed. And that is the kind of bottom line for this product line as a whole. What's really needed per application, per installation. And how do we sort of, I don't want to say put an umbrella over all of that, but really tackle a majority of those pains that the customers have from a product standpoint. And that's what the message series is as a whole for the mainstream type of digital signage type of devices. And so that was my last slide. You jumped in right at the right time right there.
Bring us back on. Hey, so I have as a quick review, our production team's doing an amazing job, by the way. I love the way that they're switching back and forth and giving us access to everything that you're presenting. But as a quick question, just a reminder, what are the size options that these come in? Are they all the same?
So no, that's a great question. So 43-inch, 50-inch, 55-inch, and 65-inch for ME series. 43-inch, 49-inch, 55-inch, and 65-inch for M series. 43-inch, 49-inch, and 55-inch for the MA series. And one thing to note, and I briefly mentioned it, but the MA and the M series, they're identical mechanically. We wanted to do our best to kind of streamline that. You know, it helps with components and stuff like not only components, but accessories, stuff like that. So,
yeah. And I know you mentioned DisplayPort, HDMI. I think you said 1.4. Is that right?
So the MA series has DP 1.4, and that's in and out too. So you can use that for single stream transport or multi-stream transport. It's a simple little setting within the menu, but it allows for those higher bandwidth type of capabilities. And actually, you could input an 8K signal into it, and you can output it. So if you want to put it across a 4x4,
that's what I was going to ask you. So you could actually use it as a processor, basically for 8K to divide it across 4 screens.
Yeah,
because all are native 4K. And then when you set one of these up, how easy is it to transfer the settings to, let's say you're doing a facility-wide integration? How easy is it to transfer the settings? What is that process exactly? Because that's been an issue that a lot of brands have claimed is really simple, but when you get into the field, it's actually very complicated to do it consistently. So I'd like to know sort of how did Sharp NEC address this?
Yeah, so we've addressed it 2 ways. First is on the hardware side, and that's, you know, like I was saying before, I mean, there's a simple copy paste function to USB through the monitor, or copying via the LAN daisy chain. So if you're connecting screens together, you really just got to adjust one, and then you can copy to the rest. The secondary way of doing that is through the software portion. So we have a free software that's really an asset management type of service software that really allows you to control an entire NEC ecosystem if you wanted to. And when I say that, I don't mean just large screens. I mean projectors, large screens, or even some desktops through a WMI provider that happens through a Windows machine. But you could also communicate to each screen like that and then just copy it on a fly right there over IP. So it's a lot easier. And I understand that question because the simple copy function via USB was not something that was in our previous generation. We could copy over LAN daisy chain, but I mean, not a lot of, you know, sometimes you just want like we were saying, a facility right here. You want to have set up your one screen, copy it, and then bring your little USB to each screen and hit a button. So we made that a lot easier for larger rollouts, a lot simpler to the integrator and to the installer.
And I'm curious as to, I know that I did an interview. We actually posted a copy of that interview in the Q&A earlier in the launch networking section, I believe. I'm not sure which one because I'm not looking at the site right now. The Q&A to the right. If you scroll up, you'll see where we posted a rants and raves, or one of my video cast interviews right after the joint announcement of Sharp NEC becoming one organization. And I'm wondering sort of like where that stands right now and how this product line fits into that. We did actually have a specific question. And so I'm kind of asking it a slightly different way because Alan Ray asked, you know, is this new series part of that, the two organizations working together? Because both of y'all were really powerful in display. Obviously, NEC dominated signage and Sharp dominated interactive displays for a long time. So is this part of that new combined alliance that you have, or where are we with regard to that overall?
Yeah, I'll respond to that. First, I would definitely encourage folks to check out that link. It's a fantastic interview between Gary, Mike and Todd. Just went through the entire joint venture, what that means, and we came together at the beginning of November as a new company, and up until that point, we weren't able to have any interaction because of just regulations. So now we thankfully are at that point where we can do that, and you're going to start to see a lot of really great things out of the organization. This particular line was from the NEC side was in play before the joint venture took place. Okay. But we're going to be taking the things that we've been developing and the things that the Sharp team's been developing, bring those together to come out with some exciting products and solutions for the channel in the market.
So one of the questions that came in from Jamie Picardo Gonzalez, who, by the way, this question came in from LinkedIn. So if you're actually watching this live on LinkedIn, post questions in the comments section, and we will answer those questions now. If you're on the Launch platform at launch.com, post the question right there to the right of the screen, and we're going to ask those questions. He asked specifically, what software is NEC offering for customers to create their own digital signage content? And I know that you already pretty much all of the software companies out there that make creative software platforms you're partnering with, but what kind of production is built into the network? I mean, you said you have that network connectivity to manage the displays. Is there any sort of simple digital signage software capability available for these monitors as well that is NEC?
Yeah, I'll take that one, Kev. So we've been doing a lot of development with the Raspberry Pi Compute module and with teaming up with a number of different content management partners really out in the field. And so we've recently actually developed, it's called the NEC Media Player. And it runs on Raspberry Pi. And a cool thing about that is that it's not only just a media player that you can access via IP, but also there is an entire CMS portion of this NEC Media Player where you can literally, it's through the UI. You could literally go to the CMS portion, click one of the partners that we've worked with, and it'll automatically image that Raspberry Pi to work with those signage partners. And I'm not going to list them on here, but we do have a microsite on that as well. So we're really making things a lot easier. And the cool thing about this product that I haven't actually mentioned, I didn't dig into that all that much, but the previous iteration of these products, really the V series and the older P series, we had the ability to integrate a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 3 into that, right? And so these new products now, it's actually going to be a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4. So we're going to have, it's essentially 4 times processing power. We're going to have gig network speeds and stuff like that. So there's a lot that we're going to be able to do, and it's going to make things a lot easier because, there's limitations to hardware, and hardware continues to evolve. So we're continuing to evolve with that. And that's why, from a CMS management standpoint, we're utilizing the partners that we feel comfortable with, that we've worked with in the past, and we're working with them to kind of mold them in onto this Raspberry Pi platform that we've now developed.
Yeah, very creative name, the NEC Media Player. That's not forgettable. I do like that. That's a good one.
Hey, you remember it, yeah.
Another one that came in from LinkedIn as well was from Manuel Novkafor, who asked, can you transport schedule content from a computer to the monitors? I think the answer is yes. I mean, that's basically, there's lots of ways to do that because any of the signage providers give that capability. But what about your media player?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, so through the media player, I mean, you could set up all sorts of different schedules and stuff like that, whether it's by day, whether it's every day, whether it's, on time, off time. There's different types of playlists that you can play through there, or you can, I guess, build through there. So it's really quite large, and it's quite powerful. And like I said, we've been doing a lot of good work on that. And again, it's a modular type of thing too. So it's going to be something that not everyone needs, right? Because there are a lot of very, very good CMS partners out there that are doing their own thing, and a lot of companies out there that want to utilize their CMS partners that they're comfortable with, right? And so, that's why we have this modular type of approach. So if you wanted that type of capability, that's when we have the ability to integrate that Raspberry Pi Compute module into the screen. And that's something I didn't talk about too in depth, but for those people that are out there that aren't really familiar with us, but or haven't been familiar with us in the past. But so OPS before was open pluggable specification, and that was, it was an Intel standard, essentially the size of like a VHS tape. It could slip into the side of our display, and audio, video control, and power were all internal. So what was cool with that is you're not worried about mounting any external devices, running cables or anything like that. Everything's going to just run off the mains power line that you're plugging into your product. Obviously need power, and SDM, and then our integrated Raspberry Pi is that same way. So it's not like there's additional cables or anything like that. It's a nice, clean, and concise type of build.
Yeah, there's a question from a 35-year-old. What is a VHS tape?
Hey, I'm a 35-year-old, so
I'm just kidding.
I don't know how to answer that.
You have to come up with a slightly different analogy for the size of that module there.
I guess I got to update that a little bit, huh?
I watched the last Blockbuster documentary the other day, and I was thinking, man, my kids probably don't even know what a VHS is. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? My production team's like saying, Gary, stop moving. Do you need to stay in the middle of the image?
I feel
so Kevin, I have a question for you. So obviously it was already mentioned that these products are, from the same DNA as the projector products, but there's going to be a lot of applications now. I see a lot more immersive environments being built where you're putting in displays, but you're also surrounding it with projection content. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of those cases, it depends on the brightness of the display itself. And I know there were different brightness options here. What are you thinking about the experiential opportunities with a display series like this, where you're giving a good, better, best? And what are the options with output brightness? Because I recall them not being the same. The MA series, I believe, the MA series was the brightest. If I remember that correctly.
Correct. Yeah, there's a whole host of options, and that's one of the things we've always kind of prided ourselves here at Sharp NEC is not just being a single display solution for our customers. We have desktop displays, we have projectors, we have large format displays, and we see a lot of our customers start to use those in tandem. You could use those at varying levels of brightness. You could different types of circumstances that would make it fit your application best, I guess. Brightness is controllable on all the units, regardless of whether you have our highest brightness unit. You could ramp down that brightness for your certain application, but definitely you could use it with different NEC or Sharp NEC solutions out there.
Ben, if I want to put this in the storefront and I'm outside, I'm guessing I'm going to use the MA series. But if I'm inside in a mall, I could use the ME series for the same type of, because you don't need that brightness indoors versus if I'm putting it where it's going to be facing the sun. Give me those different brightness options and knit output.
Yeah. So we're just talking about like just the message series here. So there's also, that's also going to be bookended by a P series and an E series. So we essentially have 5 lines that are going to fall into this whole digital signage category, but the message series is a new one. But so the ME series is 400 nits brightness, and then the M and the MA are 500. And it's very interesting, Gary. I mean, I remember when I first met you, which was over a decade ago now, if you care to remember back that long. But I mean, when I first sort of started off in this industry, there wasn't this sort of separation of different brightnesses based on application. I honestly think that that's something that can be attributed to the customer level, because they recognize that 700 nits, that's going into transportation applications and stuff like that, is not really necessary for a higher education hallway all the time, right? Yeah. Because you don't need that. And so, because of these sort of needs and the customer that's really been getting more intelligent about their needs and their wants, that's where these sort of different levels have come into fruition. And so, you go back then 5 years ago, there's the 350, the 500, and the 700 level. Yeah. And then like Kevin talked about at the beginning of this whole thing, that's all kind of merging and melding into this just overall mainstream category. And majority of the applications that are out there, quite frankly, indoor I'm talking about now, that's a lot of the times 400 to 500 nits is just really what's necessary or what's needed. You don't necessarily need anything higher than that. You could go a little bit lower too if necessary. And there's the 350 level that's also kind of on that lower end. But yeah, so the ME, to answer, long-winded way of answering your question, ME is 400, M and MA are 500.
And is this line available through the entire NEC display channel? Meaning anyone who's an integrator who sells current NEC line has access to this, or is it segmented?
No, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Channel wide.
Okay, good. Well, I want to thank both of you for being here today and using the Launch platform. What's cool about this is we're able to put this inside the platform, also on LinkedIn. We're streaming this to 2 LinkedIn feeds simultaneously. the rAVe Pubs LinkedIn feed and the Sharp NEC Display LinkedIn feed. So you have the ability to go back and watch it in either location. If you want a copy of the slides that Ben presented, all you've got to do is register at launch.com, lavnch.com. Once you've done that, you have access to all of our content, and you can go to the on-demand section, and you'll see the NEC content there. And not only will this video recording be there in a high resolution format versus what you get on LinkedIn, but also the slides will be there as well. In addition, a lot of other material is there as well, so you have a chance to reach out to NEC for other information. Of course, you have links here to go to the microsite for the message series. It's on the right in the video window, to the right of the video window in the Q&A section. And I'll ask our team to repost that right now, just to remind you where that is. Check it out. We will all see you, hopefully, crossing our fingers. We will see you at InfoComm, and this will be one of the many focuses. You have a lot of stuff coming out this year. I'm aware of a lot of things coming from Sharp NEC, this combined company. This joint venture is going to produce a lot of new technology, a lot of new products. I know you're excited to both be part of this. I'm excited that you're working with us on this. Ben, I want to thank you for presenting so well and going through the details. Our audience loves the speeds and feeds and details like this. And Kevin, I appreciate you sharing the knowledge of where things are going with this. Any last words from either one of you before we sign off?
Well, no, I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity here. And also want to kind of give a shout out to the crew behind the scenes here. You guys don't see them, but I see a whole bunch of other faces and other people back here that are doing a great job. So thank you very much to the rAVe team as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Well, we appreciate this. Launch is, we're really excited about where this platform has taken us, and we're excited to be sharing it with our partners and obviously our readers as well, and as well as your fans that are out there that have been following NEC Display originally, and then now Sharp NEC Display America through LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. So thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it. Of course, you can come back here at any moment in time and see this recording again, get a copy of the slides. But for now, on behalf of Ben and Kevin, I want to say thank you, and we're going to sign off.